Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief keeps you informed about what's happening in Annapolis and Arundel County and Maryland. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and, of course, local weather. Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, March 15th, 2022. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief. I'm not sure I want to trust this weather just yet. Maybe George will clue me in on this. But tomorrow is St. Paddy's Day, and you know all the local places are pulling out all the stops. Ram's Head, Mother's Peninsula Grill, Galway Bay, Killarney House, Brian Boru. But I'll tell you, the last three, Killarney, Galway, and Brian Boru, are doing something special for Ukraine. They are raising money to offer cash assistance to refugees and their host families in Slovakia. Head to any one of the three and see how you can help out. All right, let's get into today's news, shall we? The Annapolis Police are investigating yet another incident of shots being fired in the city. On Monday afternoon, officers were near Copeland Street when they heard the shots. When they arrived, they found a vehicle damaged by gunfire, but no injured parties. The suspect is still at large. And for those that are keeping count so far, in the 72 days of 2022, in the city of Annapolis, there have been one murder, 3 shootings injuring 5 people, including a 12-year-old who is now paralyzed, and 7 incidents of shots being fired. An update to the story we were scant on details with yesterday morning when a Pasadena woman was shot to death and a teen was also shot. The Arundel County Police have said that the 16-year-old actually fled the scene and showed up at a hospital on his own and is currently in stable condition. Police said that a large group of approximately 30 individuals had gathered on Whitaker Road when a dispute began and ultimately escalated into the shooting. Police do believe that many in the group were eyewitnesses to the incident and specifically to the shooting and the shooters. However, no one has come forward. Police are asking anybody that has any information or knows anything to call the tip line anonymously at 410-222-4700. And following up on that whole D.C., New York homeless man shootings that we mentioned yesterday, just after we released yesterday's DNB, D.C. Metro Police announced that they had arrested a suspect overnight. He's been identified as a 30-year-old man from the district. Police were watching the area where they felt the gunman was likely to strike, and they saw the suspect and identified him based on prior videos. So, good and quick resolution right there. Big political news that is going to confuse thousands in the upcoming election, I am sure. The primary election in Maryland that was scheduled for June 28th has been postponed to July 19th by the Maryland Court of Appeals. Why, you ask? Well, the legislature had rejected the redistricting maps that were presented to them by the Bipartisan Commission and developed their own set of maps that maintain and enhance some of the gerrymandered districts. Arguably, this is done to maintain control in the legislature and to sway our congressional party balance. And predictably, several lawsuits were filed and are working their way through the courts, but not knowing what district you will represent or who will represent you in the district that you live in or even what district you live in really kind of makes it hard to run and vote. The deadline to file to run was also extended once again to April 15th, so prepare for political mayhem. And as we begin to wrap, good news for Anne Arundel County. Yesterday, we told you about the AAA bond rating, and today we can tell you that the county will receive about $13 million from the federal Omnibus spending bill passed by Congress last week. County Executive Pittman has that money spent already, and some of it will go to making the county less reliant on fossil fuels. Can you say electric vehicles? Some will go to stormwater management and sea level rise, and $500,000 is going to go to upgrade Camp Woodlands, which is a Girl Scout camp on Reva Road. And I was there probably 18, 19 years ago when my daughter was a Girl Scout, and it was in rough shape back then, so I'm glad to see that happening. We are rolling on the local business spotlights, but please keep the suggestions coming. Send them to info@eyeonannapolis.net or DM me on Twitter. Up Saturday, Wild Kid Acres, and next Saturday, it's Changing Patterns. And yesterday, I said I'd put the last snippet from Senator Astle in the Daily News Brief, and his episode is going to drop at noon today, and you definitely want to listen to it. Again, that's one that I am most proud of. But right now, Senator Astle tells me about his worst day in Vietnam.
This was my worst day in Vietnam. we were going to do a big lift, about 7,000 Marines. We had every helicopter that was available in Vietnam. It was going to launch out of the airfield that I was stationed at. That morning I had breakfast with a friend of mine, a guy I'd gone to flight school with, a Harvard graduate, and he was a part of the that famous family, the author, I forget the name. Anyway, being Emerson. He was a relative of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Anyway, when we started the mission, our squadron was having to land in had a cloud layer over what we called a scud layer. And one of the things that they teach you from the first day in flight school, you don't fly into the clouds if you can't see because you don't know what's inside them. And so here we are. We're being told to fly through these. So I came out the bottom. I'm in the last aircraft. We had 12 in our squadron, and we were divided into 3 4-plane, what we call divisions. And I came out of the clouds. I had about 300 feet of clearance between the bottom of the cloud and the ground, and I'm doing about 130 knots in a turn. And I see in front of me, or off to my right, the first 3 aircraft in my flight, and the last 2 are the one in front of us going in the opposite direction, and everybody was shooting their .50 caliber machine guns out the side of the helicopter. So I'm screaming at my crew, ceasefire, ceasefire, because I didn't want to shoot down, one of my squadron mates. So I get on the ground, and we drop the Marines off. We take off. We got to go back to get another load. In the meantime, all of a sudden, one of the aircraft landed in a really bad place, and so there's all the screaming on the radio. Oh my God, I'm hit. I need the corpsman. And we're listening to this, and one of the things about the helicopter, on the stick, there was a little button under your index finger. And if you pushed it just a little bit, you talked on the intercom. If you squeezed it all the way, you talked on the radio.
Okay.
So what it meant to those listening, these guys talking, they were really terrified because they were squeezing that button.
Yeah.
And so it was coming out. Anyway, one of the aircraft blew up, and a lot of casualties on it. In the meantime, we finished our loads, and then I went back to the base we were loading out of, and that pretty much finished the lift, and the other squadrons left and went back to their particular areas where they were assigned. So we were trying to get in to get the casualties out, but the enemy fire was just so bad we couldn't get them in. In the meantime, my squadron commander comes over to me and says, we got a recon team that's in trouble and they need an emergency extraction. That's a very dangerous mission, which means that these guys are on the ground, they got bad guys all around them, and they want you to come down and get them. And so, it's, just thinking about it, you get an adrenaline rush. And so I had no choice. I flew out, and I called them on the radio. And so what's going on? They said, well, we can't accept you right now. We're in hand-to-hand combat with the bad guys, so you're going to have to wait until we get this sorted out. So I flew off a couple miles, and I orbited, thinking, maybe something will break on my airplane. I have to go. So in the meantime, they're running airstrikes, and the gunships, the Hueys, are shooting things up. And eventually they call me on the radio and say, okay, we're ready. Come get us. So you take a deep breath.
And hope for the best, I guess.
And hope for the best. Well, I got down, I got them out, and we went back to the base that we were operating out of. In the meantime, they'd gotten the casualties out of the aircraft that blew up, and they got the bodies in body bags stacked up, or not stacked, but they were lined up on the next to the runway. And so I was the leader, and my wingman, he and I were the last 2 out, and we were going to take the bodies to the morgue. One of the bodies was my good friend that I'd had breakfast with that morning. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, I cried all the way to the morgue because we took him to the morgue. That was my worst day. And during most of it, I was terrified.
Wow. I simply cannot imagine. All right, that's it for the news. But first, a quick thank you to our sponsors for the Daily News Brief: Solar Energy Services, the Kristi Neidhardt Team of Northrop Realty, a Long and Buster company, Alpha Engineering, and Rehab to Perform. Okay, so now hang tight. George Young from DCMDVA Weather is standing by with your locally forecast weather report. And because it is Wednesday, we have Bridget, also known as BeeprBuzz, with all of your music news in Annapolis After Dark. And rumor has it that she just went to the dark side and switched from an Android to an iPhone. We'll see how that one works out for her. All right, all that in just a bit.
Are you an active adult or competitive athlete dealing with an injury keeping you from being at your best? Then Rehab to Perform is here to get you back to your full potential. R2P is a unique fitness-focused physical therapy company with 4 locations in Maryland. More like a training room and a personal training studio than a medical facility. R2P offers physical therapy for lower back pain, overuse injuries, post-surgery, muscle pulls, chronic pain, and more. R2P also offers rehabilitation for concussions and mild traumatic brain injuries. To learn more, visit rehabtoperform.com.
When you live near Annapolis, you know how fickle the weather can be. So you need a truly local forecast that's accurate and reliable. Forecast right here in Annapolis. DCMDVA weather is not just for today, but for the rest of the week and the weekend too. Now here's George Young of DCMDVA weather with the weather outlook for today and beyond.
Hey everyone, this is George with DCMDVA Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Wednesday, March 16th. Yesterday brought awesome mid-March weather to the Annapolis region, and we'll stay above average for most of the next week, though we might have to deal with a few rain showers along the way. Look for another amazing day today with sunshine and PM highs well into the 60s, but we could see some showers later tonight and through the overnight hours into Thursday morning, with a fair amount of clouds sticking around tomorrow as a low-pressure center moves by to the southeast off the Carolina coast, but temps should still be in the low 60s tomorrow with sun returning Friday with highs very likely in the 70s before a frontal boundary then moves through and brings a few more showers to the region Saturday with temps upper 50s or so for PM highs ahead of a return to sunshine Sunday and Monday with highs mid 50s or so on Sunday with temps then back up to near 60 for PM highs on Monday. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DCMDVA Weather. Make it a great day out there today. Stay healthy and be safe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for regular updates each day, as well as through our website at dcmdvaweather.info. And definitely download our DCMDVA Weather app on all of your devices from either the Apple or Google App Stores, so you can always stay weather informed.
Another moving moment from Kristi Neidhardt of the Kristi Neidhardt Team from Northrop Realty, a Long and Foster company.
One of the most common questions we get, how do I maximize the value of my home before I sell it? It's a great question. We look at improvements like investments. What is the rate of return? For example, if we invest $5,000 in painting kitchen cabinets and installing granite, how much more will our home sell for? The answer? About $25,000 more. That's a 500% return on investment. Because of returns like this, we have started a program called Investing in You. We know cash is often tight when you're making a move, and we are here to help. We will front you up to $15,000 to invest in refreshing your home before you list it, with the agreement to be paid back once your home settles. Call us today so we can help you maximize your home's value.
That's another moving moment from Kristi Neidhardt. To get in touch, call 410-599-1370 or visit kn-team.com. That's kn-team.com.
The music scene in Anne Arundel County is popping, and sometimes it's hard to sort through it all. From blues to pop, from funk to ska, BeeprBuzz has it all covered for you in this week's Annapolis After Dark.
Good morning, Annapolis, and welcome to Annapolis After Dark, the St. Patrick's Day edition. The Irish shenanigans continue, and we have one heck of a week ahead with new places for live music popping up. I love that part. Lessons for the week. Do not say St. Patty's Day because, as D5 sings, who the is Patty? Or maybe it's Alice. And don't post four-leaf clovers as Irish shamrocks. Here are my music highlights for Wednesday, March 16th through Sunday, March 20th. Go to the socials for Annapolis Streaming and BeeprBuzz, and on both websites for the full schedule with all the updates as they happen, AnnapolisStreaming.com and BeeprBuzz.com. Last night, there was music at Neo Pizza in Annapolis Town Center, which is a new spot for music. Let's hope that happens again. Streaming today, Wednesday, at noon, Kensington Studio Sessions will drop episode 97, Realization of a Dream by Utsi. We will share this stream on our Annapolis streaming page and group. Live music for tonight, Wednesday. Ryan Cozell will be at Middleton Tavern. Upper Level with Allison Tomes is up at Mothers in Arnold. Pretty Big Deal is at Dark Horse. Thursday, St. Patrick's Day, and we are out unmasked, so it's on. We have 2 years of partying to catch up on. This is just the highlights for St. Patrick's Day. I have the full schedule on the website BeeprBuzz. Peter James will be at the Green Turtle in Edgewater. Speaking of the Green Turtle, hope you caught the video tour I posted for the grand opening of the new one up in Wall Chapel and Gambrels. If you missed it, you can find it on my website, BeeprBuzz, and on my YouTube channel, BeeprBuzz. You will want to check it out this Thursday because they have grilled Lincolns for St. Patrick's Day. Just down the road, Nate and Jim will be at Malloy's. DJ F04 will be at the Trophy Room inside the Graduate Hotel on West Street. Richard Hayward will be at Galway Bay. Sean Peelan will be at Killarney House and then O'Lawlins in the evening. Senior Chili Cantina, also in Arnold, has Natalia Zerga in the evening. DJ Draco will be at O'Brien's and then back there on Saturday night as well. Weekend music. Friday night, start with happy hour at Blackwall Hitch in Annapolis with Dana B. Karma Blue will be at Club 164, which is the dry club over by the Annapolis Mall. George Evans will be at Sullivan's Cove. Red Sky Dawn will be at Graduate Hotel on West Street. Sharon and the Edge will be back at Annapolis Fleet Reserve. Non-members need to be signed in. And Moran Trip Band will be at Stan & Joe's. Saturday night music at Middleton Tavern, 2 floors of music with piano bar upstairs with Donald Wolcott piano and downstairs Michael McHenry Tribe. Up at Mothers in Arnold, you'll find Lowercase Blues who have played with Sweet Lita in the past, so you know you're going to love them. Up at Romillo's in Severna Park, Sure Thing featuring Tambo. Hal Williams Band is going to be back at Copper Creek Pub, which used to be Shooters. And at Great Frogs Winery, which is just off Forest Drive, you'll find Dana Denise. Big Money Band will be at Dark Horse Annapolis. On Sunday, Aaron Hawkins of Loose Ties will be playing Sunday afternoon at Mothers in Arnold. Ali Pinsky will be up at Firm Brewing in Gambrels. PJ, Neil, and Brian will be at Stan & Joe's Inside. And Seth Kibble and Sean Lane are at 49 West. Remember, these are just the highlights. Find the full schedule of music for all of Annapolis and the surrounding areas on the Annapolis Streaming Facebook event and on the websites AnnapolisStreaming.com and BeeprBuzz.com.
The benefits of a good night's sleep are well documented. Sleeping well prevents weight gain, improves concentration and creativity, and boosts the immune system. So, what keeps you up at night? If you run a business, then the security of your computer network may be one of those things. Threats like ransomware and phishing are becoming increasingly sophisticated and pose a real risk to any business. Don't let these cyber threats keep you up at night. At Alpha, they've been helping their customers sleep better for over 30 years by monitoring in real time and hardening network defenses. And for those irritating IT issues that arise every day, Alpha's just a phone call away, helping your business run smoothly and helping you sleep better knowing Alpha is on guard. Give Alpha a call to see if they can ease your worries and help you get the rest you deserve. Find them at alphagetsit.com.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues, this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And don't forget about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. And make sure you follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at EyeOnAnnapolis. This Daily News Brief podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.